What is going on, guys? Matt Downs with Daily Grind Fantasy Sports here to give you the edge for this 10:30 UFC slate on DraftKings. Cannot wait to break it down. If you guys are brand new to this channel, we provide both free and paid content for all daily fantasy sports across all sports. If you could please show your support by hitting that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course smashing that like button for all of our future UFC content. If you would like to know more about becoming a better DFS player and taking down that big GPP, head over to www.dgfantasy.com. On dgfantasy.com, we give you cheat sheets for every major sport, along with ownership projections, actual projections, and strategy for every single slate. We also cover optimal cash plays as well as preferred GPP plays and stacks for specific contest sizes. We do the dirty work for you. We are also currently partnered with Fantasy Cruncher, the best optimizer in the industry. When signing up for our $30 package, you also get a $20 credit to use towards any Fantasy Cruncher product. We provide the best value in the industry. And now let's go ahead and dive right into this MMA Now 14 fight slate here with Kevin. Before we start this video, just want to give you guys a complete transparency here. Kevin almost died in a storm, almost. But fortunately, he's still alive. As you guys know, him and TJ live near each other, and they both got hit with a massive storm that I didn't believe at first because I didn't get hit with anything, and I live down in Pennsylvania, so I expected to get hit with something. But no, you guys got hit with the storm. Kevin has he usually does all of his research on his computer. He just gained access to everything like this morning in his house, so. He has little to no research done. He knows these fighters pretty well. He knows the ownership because I'm going to have it. And we'll do the best to cover this slate. But guys, take it easy on us. Don't flame us in the comment section. This won't be as extensive as normal. But again, we'll give you guys, the best kind of content out there still. But yeah, Kevin, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do the best that we can. Go through all 14 fights.
I think I can give a somewhat synopsis of last card too, Matt. I'll try to run through it. But yeah, this is definitely going to be less informed, a little bit more off of gut reactions and jerk reactions. Yeah, ownership, pricing, just knowing these fighters opposed to specific matchups. Yes. But yeah, we'll do the best we can and try to give you guys the best info we can. We can also give you some finish chances and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be fine. Not worried about it either way. We crush it every time. So going through the fights last week. Jonathan Martinez versus Zviad Lazishvili
there you go.
Was the first fight. Yeah, it was a tough one. It's what it is. It's Merab Dvalishvili that fucks me up for him. But I said both was live. I know a lot of people were high on Zviad because of his wrestling and his takedown ability, but I was big on hammering both sides of this, especially Jonathan Martinez. Just knowing that there's a contrast in styles with the striking, and yeah, he stuffed the takedown. I was kind of unimpressed with Zviad's takedown ability. He just couldn't deal with the size of Martinez. Couldn't get him to the ground. Was over 6 on takedowns, and Jonathan Martinez kind of handled it pretty well. It was a well handled fight. It wasn't a dominating fight, but he handled it. What did Martinez score?
Martinez scored 67.2.
Okay.
Did not make
not too great.
Obviously,
not too great. I figured as much. What was his pricing?
His pricing was 7,700.
Yeah, so still not. I mean, it's not good, but it's not. I guess it's like if you put him in your cash lines at that pricing, you're smoking the cash, obviously. Right. But yeah, but definitely an underwhelming fight altogether. Where we thought it might have been a little bit higher octane for sure. Fucking random Marcos. I mean, we were all laughing about it in the chat, Discord chat, because we, how much I hate her. Think she's just not great at fighting. She did look way better than I've ever seen her. I'll say that I watched that fight. I think I shouldn't say better, but more aggressive. She looked like a woman possessed. Like she knew this is, she has nothing to lose. She's got so many losses. This might be her ticket out of there. So she just went in and she actually fought a pretty good fight with her aggression. If she's done that her whole career, she would have been fine. She's not the most talented fighter, but she kept on the gas for 5 or 3 rounds, and she did pretty well. I think she scored over 100 just off of her total strikes alone. So yeah, I was definitely wrong about her being, I guess, not viable in this fight, because I figured maybe she'll win some shitty random Marcos way and not clear her price point. But she did really well. I'll give her credit. Yeah,
and she scored the 100.61, which made the optimal at her price tag.
Yeah, she did well. I was wrong about that one. Moving on. Absolutely right about Jeff Molina. Jeff Molina was a love lister. I told you I love his pace and finishability, which if I love your pace and finishability, pricing is going to have to be ridiculous for me not to like you as a fighter.
Yeah, and it wasn't ridiculous at all.
Not at all. And his pace is fucking stupid. He landed 106 strikes and didn't even get, didn't even finish the second round. So he had a knockdown. I mean, what did he score? He must have scored pretty well.
He scored 116.78.
That's great.
Yep.
That's great. So yeah, loved him. He was a love lister. Definitely happy we had some Jeff Molina. He's just a beast, man. He's so accurate with the striking. I like him. He's a fun kid to watch. Moving up, I said Jai Herbert and Kamor. We had back-to-back love listers here, Matt, and back-to-back smoked, which was awesome.
I see that.
Jai Herbert, Kamaworthy. I said Jai Herbert on any other slate. I'm not paying up for him for a favorite, and I think he's 8,800. Is that correct?
Yes, he was 8,800.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not paying him. Against Kamaworthy, he's an instant love lister, and this is why. Kamaworthy is a glass can. And Jai Herbert knocked him out in the first, like, he got, knocked down and then finished him off. So what did he score?
He scored 109, and surprisingly, he did not make the optimal. It was because
that's not the optimal.
Well, so listen, it was just because of the pricing, because of the puzzle pieces. They all fit together.
I'm saying 8,800 is still like so cheap.
Yeah.
Like,
so Alex, what's her last name or his last name? Alex is a not sexist name. Casares.
Yeah.
91
just saying, he was my love list. He was my only.
I was about to say 91.47, so snuck in the optimal there just because of his price tag at 7K.
I still can't believe Jai Herbert didn't make that at 8,800. That's absolutely insane.
Marcos also screwed up everything with that 7.9K, 100.61.
That one doesn't surprise. Yeah, like that, but like
and everything else, they outscored him.
Yeah, 8,800.
Molina was the next highest, 116.
Oh, yeah, I guess Molina. Yeah.
Rodriguez.
It's starting to make sense.
119. Yeah. So yeah.
How much was Rodriguez?
8K.
Yeah.
So again, screws all up.
8K, 8,200. Yeah, that makes sense.
If it was a next in line, then he definitely would have made it.
Yeah, mid-range crushed. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, still 109. It's not like 98. 109 is like pretty steep. Like,
yeah, it's pretty good.
That's crazy.
But I mean, regardless, if you had him, you probably made an optimal. Or one of the high scoring.
If you had him and all the other ones besides him, you're probably still taking down the contest, maybe or close. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we're talking about the actual optimal here. If you had him, you probably still did well. So
exactly. Moving on, we had Jamie Pickett and Lauriana Staropoli. I said this fight was very like Matt, and it kind of was I don't love Staropoli. I said he should win this fight, but he's very like, when I've seen him. Jamie Pickett, I thought was, gonna win this fight with a knockout, probably not a decision. He did win the decision. He looked pretty good in the process. I watched the fight. Took him down a couple times. He is fucking huge. I don't know if you've seen Jamie Pickett. His back is the size of a goddamn piece of plywood, man. He's a big dude, and it was just a boring like kind of fight, but Jamie Pickett, I think, definitely looked in control. I don't think Staropoli had any sauce for him. So what did Pickett score?
Pickett scored 65.
Yeah, pretty low scoring fight. Yeah, no, that's why it was a yellow fight for overall. Like I double yellowed that, and I believe, right? I don't know if you still have
I actually don't, but I do remember you talking about that fight. Yeah.
And that was Yeah,
you can lie about whatever calls you want right now because I can't see the history.
I just say, unfortunately, I gotta live with myself too here. But Tabitha Ricci versus Maria Oliveira was next. To be honest, I can't remember what I said for this one. But I know Tabitha Ricci.
Green both of them. No.
Yeah, exactly. Tabitha Ricci was definitely green. No, she smoked. She did great. 103 total strikes and 5 takedowns. So I genuinely can't remember what I said for this one. I want to say probably double yellow, but pretty well scored. What did Ricci score?
99.9. We'll round it up to 100.
Nice. That's a good score.
Yeah.
Moving on, Mason Jones and David Onama. This is a fight I saw a lot of potential in. I will tell you right now. I had Mason Jones. David Onama. Mason Jones was very expensive. That's the thing. He's very expensive. That's the one thing that scared me. And I said Onama was live off that pivot. A lot of people in my chat, in the Discord chat, were saying that. Now my cash lines actually had David Onama just because of how I could like fit the pricing in. And David Onama actually he was the cheapest fighter on the slate, and he actually looked really good, Matt. Really good. He just couldn't deal with the wrestling. But it was like he outstruck him actually, and it was close. Like they both had over 85 sig strikes and both had over 115 total strikes. But it was just the 8 takedowns Mason Jones landed that sealed the deal for Onama. But yeah, it was an interesting fight.
Highest score on the slate was Mason Jones.
Really? With those takedowns? Yeah, that'll do it.
126. Broke the slate.
That'll absolutely do it. And it's funny because it was a very close fight. It was actually a very close fight. But he didn't make the optimal, I'm assuming, right?
He did, yes. 95.
Damn it. 9,500 bucks. I would have been like, I can't believe that. Like, so at $9,500, he makes the optimal. I guess it's because all the punts. Like I'm trying to think. I guess because Casares was so cheap.
Those punts were annoying.
So there's some money. What was the What was the? I would love to know the final price. Well, I guess I can. What was the total?
49.7.
Yeah. Okay. So like it was even less than 50K with Mason Jones in there.
Right.
Fucking A, man. The way things just cause like Mason Jones price tag was so high. I was like, there's no way he clears this, even if 120. Like, you know. And
yeah, at that point you just have to look at raw points if there are upsets on the card, which exactly.
Yeah, I was gonna say if these super upsets didn't win, then you know he's not making the optimal. But moving on, we had Park Young Jung versus Gregor Rodriguez. This was a double green. There were 8K and 8,200. Pretty good fight. Gregory Rodriguez looked awesome. As we know, he got the second round finish, landed 2 takedowns, and it's just a solid performance from him. It was a big comeback win, and yeah, he looked good. So what did he score, Rodriguez?
Rodriguez also broke the slate, I do believe, at 119.6.
Yep.
Second
nice. Moving on, we had Nicolay Nuge Moreno, whatever his last name is. I had him in my cash just because of how much I think Ike sucks, and Ike sucks confirmed, and he got knocked out in a minute 18, so that was good. Trinaldo did Trinaldo things. I said this was going to be a terrible fight, and it was a terrible fight. It was just a terrible fight. One of the most boring fights I've ever seen. So yeah, moving on. Alex Casares gave him the fatty punt list love emoji, whatever you want to call it, Matt. I definitely said he was live as a punt, and he did awesome. I said he was going to, because of his grappling, I thought he was live because I know Choi Sung-woo cracks, and he does crack. He fucked Casares up early. He almost had him out of there, and that's why I liked him too. I also I can't remember if I love listed Choi, but I definitely greened him. I might have love listed, I don't remember. But for his hands, and he knocked Casares down early, but Casares stayed tough and got that sub, so Casares definitely made the optimal with his pricing. Jessica Rose Clark and Jocelyn Edwards, I can't remember my stance on this one. I want to say it was like yellow, mid-range.
I think it was,
maybe green. I think it was yellow. Now that, I think it was definitely yellow. Jessica Rose Clark did pretty well, I guess, off of her takedowns. What'd she score? 90 something maybe?
You said Clark? 90.4.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Not too bad.
Yeah. And then Grant Dawson and Rick Glenn ended in a draw, which killed my cash lines a little bit because I ended up with Grant Dawson.
Yeah, he was very high on Grant Dawson was.
Yeah, he looked like shit, Matt. And I know Rick Glenn I gave him a green light too, because I think Rick Glenn's a good fighter. But yeah, that Grant Dawson looked a little shitty, to be honest. And then the main event, I ended up stacking in cash, and I actually didn't cash because Dawson. Yeah, I didn't cash because of friggin' Grant Dawson. But
what was his ownership? Do you remember how high it was?
I don't, but it was pretty freaking high. Yeah. It was pretty freaking high in my cash games. I don't recall. I'm sorry, but yeah, it was the Vitorian Costa fight was an absolute banger. Did you watch it all, Matt?
I didn't get a chance to watch it.
If you get a chance to run it back, just watch it. It was a really good fight. I give credit to Paulo Costa. I told you my hard stance was Vitorian 5-rounders. Stand by it. Costa definitely hung around later than I thought he would. Yeah, 100%. His gas tank looked prepared. He was not 100%. He was not prepared. And that's what like Vittori was saying after, like, whatever the fucking weight cut thing. I don't know if it was a ploy. I don't know if this, because he was usually when people are having the trouble making weight, there's an injury. And Paulo Costa said he had a bicep tear or something after, but he was not ready. That dude was fucking tuned up, ready to go for a 5-round war. He looked awesome. Like that was the best I've ever seen Paulo Costa look. I think Vittori just looked really good as well.
Right.
This was a really good fight. Both looked awesome. So
they both scored well. On. So
both scored well. What did Vittori score?
Vittori scored 122, and Costa scored 73.41.
Crazy. Yeah, that's pretty good. Nice little stack there.
Probably one of the highest scoring stacks I've seen in a while.
Yeah, that was definitely, it was a banger. And the craziest thing is, Matt, that like these guys were fighting at 205, and they hit hard as trucks. So it's like to land that many sig strikes without someone going down is crazy. Insane.
Yeah.
Insane. But let's get in this card. It's not going to be a super long one, as we talked about, Matt. Just because the information provided for me, I was going to say almost for us. Nope, for me and my shitty area of living that gets hit by storms. I'm just going to be looking at the pricing, the finish chances, just kind of give you guys a lot of the information. Sure. First one here is Tagir Ulanbekov versus Alan Nascimento. Interesting fight off the rip, Matt. We have a plus 115-ish that this fight ends in a finish. So assuming it does not end in a finish. The only person we have pricing on right now in DraftKings is Nascimento. Actually, I'm sorry. We do have it just changed because of the 14, because the fight that pulled out, we have Ismagulov and Mustavov are out. So I lied. We do have Ulanbekov's pricing too. It's 9,400. One of the highest on the slate, if not the highest on the slate. Second highest, there's a 95 in there too, or actually there's 96, 90, so it's third highest on the slate. Still pretty high pricing. What's the ownership looking like here,
The
Matt?
ownership on, well, I don't think it's accurate because again, it looks like this was a late ad, right?
Yep.
Or in terms of price tag, yeah. Nascimento 25%, and that's higher than Tagir. I think it's how you pronounce his name. 22.1. So yeah, that doesn't make sense to me unless that's the most obvious punt play in the slate, which it doesn't look like it in terms of the
I think
odds.
Nascimento's good. I just would be shocked. I've never heard of a heavy punt having that much ownership.
That's not right.
I don't think that's accurate.
So when we look at the top 5 or top 6 rather in terms of ownership, we're looking at Volkov. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to give away the name. 30.1% is the benchmark here, Kevin. So anybody above 30.1 is the benchmark. So,
as far as Tagir goes, I think he's live. He has good wrestling. I hate his pricing. It's a huge slate. We did just watch Mason Jones make it. So if you think he's going to outscore and outpace the other 95, 9,600 guys, like there's a chance he makes it. And with his wrestling, he could. But also looking at the other 9,500, 9,600 guys, he's got some stiff competition. So not only has to beat out those guys, though, then he has to beat out the mid-range pricing guys too. So should he win? Sure. I'd probably leave him on the table for a lot of them. I mean, I'm still, again, I know Mason Jones cashed last week. Last week was it was abnormal. You know what I mean? And he, again, he didn't have the competition that this card has for talent. You know what I mean?
Right.
We have 2 title fights on the card. So, it's not.
It's not probable. Do you want to give us yellow or green light?
I'll give him yellow.
Okay.
Alan, I guess I'll give yellow too. Just because he's a decent fighter, but we'll see how his ownership pans out.
All right.
Moving forward.
Moving on to the 13th fight.
This
is Zong.
There we go.
And Petrovsky.
Yep. Who?
Pet. I'm gonna call him Pet.
Just like Petrovsky, Andre Petrovsky. I like Andre Petrovsky, Matt. I think his wrestling. We watched him in the Ultimate Fighter season finale. He wasn't in the finale, but he was on the undercard of that because he was the 1 seed and probably should have done a little better. His wrestling is really good. We took him last time when he fought on that card, and he scored in his first UFC fight pretty damn well, I believe. Right? What did Petrovsky score?
Petrovsky scored 106. Yep.
106. Yeah. The only thing that's always been suspect about him a little bit is his gas tank. But I think I personally think, Matt, they want to groom this kid. I think they think he's got that potential. He's got the look. He's got the part. He just needs to get his gas tank. UFC does do this. I mean, if you don't think they do, I think you're just wrong. I mean, so they throw him a guy who's, I think Yao Zong was good outside the UFC. Yao Zong was one of those weird guys they threw in. He was 3-0 and they just threw him into the UFC. And he's been 0-2 since. Hasn't looked great since. So just judging from what I've seen, small sample size, I would probably avoid him for the most part and take Petrovsky. But yeah, I mean, I will say Yao Zong's last fight against Rashad Coulter was fairly close. Fairly close. He's a decent striker and he might have a striking advantage, but I know Petrovsky's wrestling is very good, and he will get it to the ground at least at some point. So I'd probably be more. I'll give Petrovsky green. I'll give Yao Zong yellow.
Okay, Petrovsky is up in that benchmark percentage, 34% ownership, which is the 4th highest in the card. Kevin, I don't know if you agree with that. $8,600 seems like it does make sense there in terms of the odds too at minus 239. Zong also at $7,600 is very, very low owned at 7.8%, which is the second lowest on the card.
Yeah, I think he can break the slate with his wrestling at 8,600. So that's definitely gonna sway people into heavy ownership, and I agree with it. I mean, he looks the part. He's good. So I don't disagree with it.
All right, moving on.
What fight are we on? 12?
12. Yeah, Murphy and another last name I can't pronounce.
Yeah, Amirkhani. This is an interesting fight, Matt.
There we go.
Yeah, Makwan Amirkhani. You guys know I love him. Very good grappler. Matt, and I think this is a great stylistic fight. I'm going to put both these guys green. Amirkhani has not looked great lately. If they stuff the takedown, he's not. Let's call spade a spade. He's not a great striker, and if they stuff the takedown and he can't get to the ground, he's in a little bit of trouble. Lerone Murphy is definitely someone who you'd want to get to the ground. He's a very good striker. I think this is like a bad matchup. Usually, I like grapplers in matchups against strikers because it's like they're the bad matchup for each other. I think this is definitely more of a bad matchup matchup for Makwan Americani, but I do still think he's live just because if he can get it to the ground, he's going to have a huge distinct advantage over Murphy. But Murphy's been awesome, still undefeated in his MMA career. He looked great against Douglas Silva de Andrade, Ricardo Ramos he knocked out. So I definitely think Lerone Murphy's going to be live here.
Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, it looks like both these guys are live, especially at their ownership. Murphy showing 19.3 and Americani showing 12.1. Very, very low ownership on both these guys.
Yeah, very low. And like I said, it's just a good style matchup. I do think Americani at that low pricing has a chance, which a lot of fighters at that pricing don't have a chance. So, yeah, I don't hate him, but yeah, right. Moving on. Shamil Gamzatov. This is gonna be an interesting one, Matt. I was not super impressed with him in his I think he's 1-0 in the UFC, right? Is that correct? Let's see here.
Which one? Michael?
Shamil Gamzatov.
Oh, goodness. I hate these names. 59.53. He won in a split decision. Yes.
Yeah, one UFC fight. And then, a much more experienced Oak Lake Zeke, whatever you want to fucking call it. He kills me every time. I goes by the nickname Hussar. But I just, I don't hate Hussar more as the underdog here. I honestly don't. I wasn't impressed by the pace or scoring of Shamil in his first fight. So, as you can see, what did you say he scored?
He scored 59.
Yeah, so, and for good reason. At least I feel confident that, in a win, Michelle will clear that. So I definitely think...
That's Michelle? That's not Michael?
I don't know what it is, man. I butcher it every time. I've called him Michelle, and people have been like, it's Michael. And I've called him Michael, and people have been like, it's Michelle. So I don't know.
I guess that can be Michelle?
I genuinely don't know. I remember at weigh-ins one time, someone called him Michael, and I was like, oh, shit, it's Michael. And I heard, all it takes is one time to fuck you up for the rest of your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this day and age, you don't even know what gender, the names match up or anything. So, Michelle, Michael.
Maybe he wants to be Michelle.
Matt.
It's probably Michael, but I like to think Michelle.
Michelle. Now we're changing it to Michelle. Okay. Yeah, well, Michelle. You know what? We're just not going to name him. That's the person who's not named. His ownership is 24%. Shamil is 16.1. That's a lot easier to say. Both below that cusp, both showing very low ownership.
Yeah, I think, like I said, as the underdog, I like him more. He's got more of a finish potential. I can't get necessarily behind Gamzatov yet. I'm not saying he doesn't have the potential, but it's one of those guys, he was an unreal finisher outside of the UFC and in other organizations that weren't huge. And then he went to the PFL, fought twice in the PFL. I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a very good fighter. Really good grappler. I know that. So maybe with his takedowns, he can break the slate. I just don't expect to finish, and this is a big slate. I don't know. Let's go green. We'll put him green just because of his grappling.
Gotcha.
His grappling's so good.
Ownership's very low too. Mid-range pricing all makes sense.
Yeah, his grappling's so good, so we'll put him in there. But yeah, moving on, we have who is it? Zaleski Dos Santos, right?
Yes.
Is that next?
Yep.
Trying to find my
Saint Dennis.
Saint Dennis. He's the Saint of Dennis.
Dennis?
Yeah. Saint Dennis. Yeah. Okay. Benoit Saint Dennis. Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one. To be honest, this is one of those ones I will. Again, I told Matt before this video, I'm not gonna sit here and bullshit if I haven't done my research on the fights yet. And I haven't done much research on this one just because not in it. I know Benoit's a UFC newcomer, so I don't know shit about him. It seems like he's a very good grappler for what I've seen. So I think he's probably going to be live in that regard. What's the ownership, Matt?
7.9. It looks like nobody wants to touch him because it looks like the public.
Touch him.
Yeah, looks like the public doesn't know too much either. So
this is a fight that's essentially nearing a coin flip, right?
It's showing 70% for Dos Santos, 30%.
That's interesting. I feel like that's very inconsistent with how the percentage usually is for pricing. Because find another humor me, Matt. Go to Petrovsky and Hozong. What's their win percentage?
Petrovsky. Okay.
And Yao Zong.
It's 70-30 again. Yep.
70-30. That's interesting. Isn't it usually a lot closer for an 86 to 7,600 price tag?
It is. It's just because there's so many fighters on the card. That's the reason for it.
That'll skew the win percentage?
If it depends on the other win percentages on the other fight. Yeah, it will. Yeah, it usually goes in order. Unless it changes drastically.
It's weird that other fights would affect the win percentage of a specific fight.
It's not that it affects the win percentage; it affects the pricing. So it goes in order. So from AK, whoever has the closest odds, it's going to be whatever that is. Even if the closest odds are minus 300 to plus 250, if that's the closest, that's going to start at AK.
Gotcha.
Regardless, yep.
Okay.
It's all relative to the other fighters.
Gotcha. Because I was like, that doesn't sound right.
No, it still doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what this would usually, or what the actual projected odds would be for a winner here, because I feel like it's got to be a lot closer than 70-30. But
again, that's why I get so mad at the main event, because they price it the exact same, like based on the win percentage, and it's like you don't deserve to be priced the same in relativity to the other fights. That's why I get so mad. But
yeah,
anyway,
no, 100%, that makes sense. That being said, like I said, I definitely think he's live and think he has a shot. I think this is a really good stylistic matchup, Matt. I know for a fact Zaleski Dos Santos is a very good striker. Like I said, I haven't done all my research on this fight, but I know that he's a very good striker, and you have a very good striker versus a very good grappler at a pretty low to mid range pricing. So I think this is a great fight to target. And like you said, the ownership's criminally low, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even on Dos Santos?
Yeah, Dos Santos 29.6, so right below that cusp.
Well, I don't know why this wouldn't be a hammer fight, to be honest. If I was, again, I can't put my stamp on anything, not knowing all the information in front of me. I like to take a couple days to do my research, but I definitely think this would be a, knee-jerk reaction love lister here, Matt.
Right. I agree.
But yeah, let's move on. I have to reset my thing every time. That's why I take
Darav. I'm not going to do these names are pissing me off, so I'm done. Yeah,
we're fighting out of like Georgia in the Middle East today, apparently.
Yep. I'm done.
Albert Darav versus Roman Kopylov. Again, this is one I absolutely have not done my research on. I know Kopylov fought Carl Roberson in his UFC debut, and he got subbed. Pretty good knockout guy before that, pretty good stand-up guy before that. Darav, I think, is making his UFC debut. I know he was on Dana White's Contender Series too, but and he's a pretty good grappler. So this is another one, Matt. I think it's just going to be a striker versus grappler. I don't know enough about these guys, but on paper, it does seem like a very good targetable fight. The finish chance here is, let's see the finish chance here. We haven't gone over enough finish chances, and that's my fault.
Albert is carrying 32% ownership, so I assume he's going to have a decent.
It says a minus 225 finish chance, Matt.
Decent finish chance.
So yeah, I think this is going to be a good fight to target just on paper. Again, wish I knew more about it, but just looking at the the surface level here, we see a striker versus a grappler with a very high finish chance. And again, what's the pricing on this?
$9,200. Kopylov, $7K. Oh wait, what am I reading?
Yeah, it's 92 to 7K. So yeah, I definitely think it's definitely not going to be one of those ones that's close and you take 100% of like last fight, I think, or like potential. Again, I'm not putting my stamp on that, but I definitely think Kopylov is live at 7K. Even though Darav has been absolutely lights out, it just seems like a good style matchup for him to catch him with a shot, because Albert Darav is obviously a very good grappler and really hasn't done shit on his feet from what I can tell from his career. So,
all right, moving on.
We have, I can't wait till we get to the main card. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I recognize these names, guys. That's how you know it's good.
Yeah. Ricardo Ramos versus who you just previously mentioned versus Zubair Tukhugov.
Nice.
Yeah, this is God love it, man. Obviously Ramos is a vet. We just talked about him. He got knocked up by Lerone Murphy, but Lerone Murphy's very good, so doesn't really mean shit to me. He's been pretty good. I like Ricardo Ramos from what I've seen. He's beat some decent people. I think Bill Ajao was a tough fight for him. He beat him. He beat some guys he should probably beat too. He's got a record in the UFC of, what is it? I think 6-2. So he's definitely someone I feel okay putting like a little bit of like reliance on. Like I definitely believe in him a little bit. At least from what I've seen from him. Zubaira, I'm trying to see his last fights here so we can see how he scores.
23.69, 121.47, and then the rest have been split decisions, not that well. Yeah. And then he had a KO.
Well, that's the thing. He's not a good finisher. That's what I'm trying to look at how his
no, he's
takedown ability is.
He doesn't score well, and whenever he doesn't knock out. So
yeah, I mean he's been okay in the UFC as well. He had a split decision draw to Lerone Murphy. I said Lerone Murphy doesn't have any losses, and he doesn't, but he does have a draw, and it was to Zubaira. So that's pretty impressive, just knowing how good he is. He has a win over Kevin Aguilar. Did lose to, again, all of his UFC fights have been, I remember bringing him up last time, Matt, talking about his fight with Hakeem Dawodu. It's crazy, and because he has, in his last last 5 fights, he has 4 split decisions. So win or loss. So, I mean, this is a guy who just... is perpetually on a coin flip, and that seems a little scary. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like he does just enough to try to win or at least keep it close in the judges' eyes. So, I mean, just gut reaction again with my very limited knowledge right now of how I am, numbers and all that stuff. I'm gonna give him a yellow, Matt.
Okay, yeah, both very low ownership, below 20%. So, looks like the public is avoiding this.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. Amanda Hebes versus Vernon Roba. Finally getting some, some higher level fighters here, who we can, actually spitball and talk about a little bit. Amanda Ribas, we know she's a very good finisher. We know that for, as far as women go, she had that arm bar over, I think it was Paige Van Zandt. She did lose her last fight against Marina Rodriguez, but Marina Rodriguez is tough. I think she's live. I think Amanda is definitely live. Vernon Roba is always going to be live. We know that she has such a good grappling game. She's always going to be someone I absolutely love. She's got the craziest of crazy eyes, and we know that. But she still finishes people. So I definitely love both fighters here.
All right, and their ownerships are both very low. 25.5 on Ribas and Verna, we'll just call her, 12.9.
I'm looking at the funniest picture I've ever seen in my entire life of Vernon Roba right
now. Is it good or bad?
No, she's wearing some weird fucking hat, and she's got the crazy eyes from Mr. Deeds. So I don't know. Yeah, she is an interesting looking dude. But yeah, she's a dude. No shot, she's not. But yeah, I definitely think both these fighters are live. They're both beasts. Vern is a killer. What's the line here? I'm trying to see.
134 minus close, 160. Right? Yep.
Yeah. See, close. Just off gut reaction, like I did not look at the line or pricing, and I was like, this has to be a close fight because they're both savages.
Right. So to go back to original point, this was the closest fight on in terms of odds, and that's why it's skewing the other fights because it's still not that close. Like minus 160 is not that close. They're giving Ribas 57% chance to win this thing at $8,200 and 8K. So that's where they started. So that's why it affects the puzzle pieces like that in terms of DraftKings.
It just makes me mad. But yeah, moving on, we got Magomed Ankalaev versus Volkan Ozdemir. You said Volkan, Matt, or do you say Volkov? Who was carrying some fatty ownership?
Volkov, sorry, it was.
Volkov, okay. No, I was going to say it probably wasn't Volkan. I'd be surprised, especially against Magomed. Magomed's definitely going to be green. I know that. I don't need to think about that. He's an absolute unit. He's absolutely starches people. I love him, and I think he's going to be just fine. Volkan, that's a little different. What's the line here? It's got to be a fucking blowout, right? Yeah. I mean, no, it's a blowout. Don't get me wrong. It's 9,100 to 7,100. I'm wondering if I think Volkan Ozdemir has a chance. I don't know. I really don't know. He looked okay versus Prochaska. And we know Prochaska's looked really good against Dominic Reyes, and he's been pretty consistent. But he did end up getting finished after that. So I don't know. He beat Alexander Rakic. It's like, how much sauce does Volkan Ozdemir still have in his tank? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is a guy that fought for the title, got smoked by DC. But I guess you got to mark him live. I guess he's still like off his last. If you just go off recency bias, and again, it was a year and 2 years ago. He hasn't fought. He's not fought. But against Yuri Prochaska, he looked pretty good. He's probably winning that fight, and then got knocked out. And then he beat Rakic before that. Granted, again, that was 2019, but I mean, that's two big names he was doing pretty well against. So I think those names are objectively right now definitely bigger than Ankalaev. So I got to put him live. I'll put double green here, Matt.
Okay, and they're showing low ownership here at 19.2 and 8.3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Ozdemir, I've never thought he's that great, but he's shown me no reason to doubt that he can, still get it done.
Yeah, he can score very well.
Yeah. Moving on, is the man everyone came to see, right?
Mm-hmm. Even I recognize it.
Back in the mix is Khamzat Chimaev. Everyone's obviously super excited about him. What was the last time he fought? It's been a while. Yeah, September. I was gonna say the last time he fought, Matt, was the fight where he had that person. Yeah, that was the fight. Ooh. The slate. The person took the $50,000 home, or won the $100,000 contest and split it. That was the last time we saw him. So yeah. Again, been a while. Don't like that he's been off so long, especially where like he was the opposite. With how he was fighting, like when he came in, he took the world by storm, man. He fought July 15th, then fought July 25th. He fought 10 days later.
Right. And just took the biggest break. Makes no sense. Yeah.
And then, you know what it was? It was something to do with COVID. He got fucked up really bad, I think, and they wouldn't clear him. It sucks. Like,
well, then I can't blame him. If you're not your top,
but I think he wanted to anyway. And I think like the UFC wouldn't clear him for his medical or something. I read something like that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I saw something too there, like the weigh-ins went interesting for him because I think they already did the weigh-ins. I'm not sure. Again, I'm so behind on this, and I transparently, but I like him. I like his ability. He scores off the fucking charts. I mean, he's probably gonna be super high owned. I'm guessing, Matt. I would not be surprised if he wasn't the highest.
Chimaev is 41.5, which is the highest. Yep, that's the highest.
Yeah. That being said, Jing Liang could absolutely ruin his party. Like, let's be real here. He's a good fighter. He has a shit ton of experience. He's a good finisher, and I think he could absolutely ruin his party. And like I said, like, we don't know what Chimaev is going to look like. You know what I mean? He missed a good amount of time coming off like being pretty physically fucked up. So I don't know. I don't think this is going to be a walk in the park for him. I know, like, Jing Liang is not like this huge name. You know what I mean? It's not like he's fighting this, like, but he's still number 11th in middleweight right now, I believe. And he's a bad motherfucker, dude. I think people are going to sleep on him. I think both sides of this are very live.
All right. Yeah. And I think for good reason, this is the most obvious green light on the card. Chimaev has scored over 120 in each of his wins so far. So no reason to doubt that. 41.5 and Jing Liang, 8.2%.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the best punt on the card, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As much as, and I'm
there's so many I can tell you, there's so much fanboys that are gonna be in the comment section just being like, you're an idiot. So can't wait for that.
They can fucking hold my jock, because I was the first person on Chimaev's nuts when he was 6-0 joining the UFC. I was all in on him. So
15%, by the way. Do you give him higher or lower chance for Jing Liang?
I think it's like right on, to be honest, but like that's pretty good.
That's like, still good. Like, I'm just thinking about 15%. I'm like, that's a fighter's chance
to break the entire slate. I mean, that's not bad at all, especially if you take 100% of that fight and you just really limit your player pool to like 6 to 7 fights or something that you believe in. It's not bad at all.
No.
Definitely slate breakable. But moving on, we got Alexander Volkov versus Martian Tybura. I'm actually a little surprised that, call it intuition, Matt. I got a feeling that Volkov's ownership is going to be decent.
He is the benchmark there, so 30.1.
Call it intuition. I don't know why. Something made me
crazy.
Think that. Yeah. But yeah, Volkov. That is Volkov. What do you do with him? He's so hit or miss for me. He does so well. Sometimes he does, kind of underwhelming other times. Obviously, the Derek Lewis fight was the biggest one where he was doing great and then got slept. He has some big wins since then. He's a very, very hard striker, very long striker, very tough to deal with his size. I'm trying to see how big he is compared to Tybura. He's got to be a monster compared to Tybura, right? Yeah, Tybura's still 6'3". But Tybura's been great, man. I don't doubt Tybura. I think he's actually emerged as like a pretty damn good heavyweight, with some solid wins over Greg Hardy, Walt Harris. I don't know if he's quite at the level of Volkov, probably hence Volkov's ownership, because Volkov doesn't lose to anybody who isn't an absolute stud, and he beats a lot of studs in the process. So I don't know. I'd still am a little bit more leaning on the skill level of Volkov, but Tybura has given me no reason to doubt him. I think you could almost go double green here, Matt. I really do. All
right. Well, the ownership on Tybura is like crazy low, 8.2%. So I think that's your slate breaker, honestly. Volkov,
that's great. Yeah, that's better than the one we were just talking about. That's
it's the exact same percent ownership too. So if you think about in terms of odds, they're giving Tybura a 25% chance to win this thing. That's pretty good.
It's pretty good. And it's heavyweight.
8.2%.
It's fucking heavyweight. Anything can happen.
Oh, yeah.
We saw it. I mean, Derek Lewis was getting the shit kicked out of him by Volkov, and Volkov just caught him.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. And Volkov, as we've already talked about, and your intuition tells you it's 30.1%. Don't know how you got that. So
yeah, I'm really bright, Matt.
Yeah,
I guess it's not that you mentioned it before or anything.
Nope.
But yeah, I definitely like that fight, and we'll be targeting the hell out of it. And just for everyone, so they know, and Patreons alike too, if we don't get all the information in for the slate tomorrow starts at 10:30, Matt.
Yes, it does. So, 10:30. I was going to mention that.
Yep, Eastern time. So I don't know when it's going to lock. Maybe I got to check. Maybe 9:30, 9 or 10.
No,
or something
it actually starts at 10:30, or it locks at 10:30 as well.
It locks at 10:30. Okay, because sometimes they do it like a little bit before. I don't know.
No,
so
it locks at 10:30. So
okay, cool.
You guys have to wake up on the weekend, or you're screwed. So I hope there's no late scratches.
Yeah, seriously, don't set your lineups at night and just hope everything goes.
Don't do that.
Big mistake. But yeah, moving on. Crazy fight, Matt. Crazy fight. Islam Makashav versus Dan Hooker. One that I wish I had more time to write about, because this is a really fun fight. Dan Hooker, I'm a big Dan Hooker guy. I believe in his talent. I said last slate, I took a hard stance. Him and Nasrat Haqparast were like somewhat close, and I think Dan Hooker was like a -170. I don't know, something like he was like favored, but not crazy. And I was like, no shot Haqparast has any sauce for him. No shot. And that was, I think, a pretty good call by me because Dan Hooker fucking washed him. He smoked him. Dan Hooker is a very good fighter. Very, very good fighter. I don't know what to do with him. I am a little bit lost at what to do with him. I would loved his fight with Dustin Poirier. I think he looked awesome. I didn't like his fight with Michael Chandler because he got knocked out early, but Michael Chandler's a beast. And I actually had a lot of Michael Chandler that night. I don't know what to do with him. I really don't, because I do believe in him and I think he's really good. It's just Islam. It's just Islam. I love Islam. I stand by his ability. You guys know I'm such a Georgian, Middle Eastern, like a Russian, whatever you want to call it. Any Middle Eastern, anywhere from the Middle East to Russian wrestler, I'm just gonna dick ride, and that's just a fact. And Islam is absolutely in that category. Obviously, he grew up with training with Khabib. He's one of Khabib's best friends, and he's looked absolutely lights out. He breaks slates. He scores like crazy. His takedown ability is crazy. I do like him in 5-rounders more though, just because
he's a gas tank.
He has a gas tank, and it gives him a little bit higher ceiling.
Sure.
I don't know how much he can do necessarily in this 3-rounder, but we'll see. We'll see. What are you thinking here? What's the ownership looking like?
Ownership on Islam is 26.3, which is actually pretty low owned, and I'd assume about to call you TJ Kevin, it is because of his price tag at $9,600 and Hooker at 60.
Sorry, what is it again?
26.3%.
That's really low.
Yeah, and then Dan Hooker at 6.2. So he's not owned.
It's a pretty even chance to go to a decision. I
guess that explains the ownership there.
Even line, I guess. Yeah, it's still pretty low. This is just a really high octane fight for that low ownership combined. It's like, I get it. I don't quite know what to do with it because Islam is so expensive.
He's also
and
the
Dan Hooker
favorite.
Shouldn't win. Yeah. And he is, what is he, minus 650, something like that?
Oh wait, no, he's at minus 500 now, so that's actually gone down.
Seriously?
Yeah. So the highest.
Oh, that's a big drop.
Yeah. Chimaev is the biggest favorite. So
yeah, that's a big drop.
So that explains the ownership.
I think someplace had him at like minus 700.
But
you'd think that would almost counter, and Hooker would go up in ownership. Maybe he did, but 6% is still like
yeah. They'll probably be updated more in the morning.
I just believe in Hooker. I think he's so good. It's just like, how are you going to beat Islam? It's
Public
like
agrees.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I'll let you lead up between you guys and God.
I think it's a yellow, honestly, all the way around.
Yellow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's yellow.
Now, if Hooker wins, do you think it's a knockout or a finish? Or
probably.
No?
Because I'd be shocked if he beats Islam in a decision. But if somehow he kept it on his feet, like, it's not like Hooker couldn't outpace him on his feet. I don't think it's impossible to think that he outpaces him on his feet. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's probably gonna be a knockout. I mean, I don't think he wins a decision against.
In that case, I would be more willing to give Hooker a green light because of his ownership too. But yeah, that's just me.
It's putting that fight at like. Just as a UFC giant MMA and UFC fan, putting that fight as double yellow just takes a piece of out of my heart. I don't know,
right? Because it's so good. But you got to compare it to the next two fights we're about to talk about. Again, relativity.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And Chimaev.
Yeah, and Chimaev, and it's a 15 or 14 fight slate now. So yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Moving on, we have Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen. My goodness, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's gonna be a good one. What do you do with this one? Another one that I just wish I had more time to write on.
Jan's the penis kicker, right? Yeah. No. Who's the penis kicker?
I don't know.
That's not him. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of somebody else. Go ahead.
He might be.
He might be.
I'm trying to think. Like in his fight with Aljamain, did he kick him in the nuts a bunch of times?
It's disqualification. Yes, he had.
But it wasn't. He didn't get DQ'd for that. He got DQ'd for.
It was the knee to the head. That's what it was.
The knee. Yeah.
Look at me, remembering.
Down. It was very good job. Proud of you.
I just assume it's always a penis kick if it's a disqualification.
It should be. This was a wild finish to a fight, Matt, as we know. He got that. I'm not even gonna get into it. I know I'm not gonna get into it because people will lose their shit. Either way, how they feel.
Well, he's undefeated.
I don't feel either way. So. I don't care. Yeah, I don't feel any type of way. I don't think I think I see both sides of the coin. Aljamain could have been milking it, or like, let's be real here. He got kneed there's a reason that position is considered a downed opponent and you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's because how much damage you can do. And Peter Yan can do more damage than anybody in the fucking world. Right. So, I mean, to the people who are like, you have to look at it objectively in 50-50 and be like, he could have been hurt. He could have milked it, because the people who are saying he, 100% was milking it.
It looked like he did, but
okay, then go on your hands and knees and eat a fucking knee from Peter Yan.
Regardless, it's illegal. That's like the whole thing. Regardless of if it was a flop or whatever. Yeah. Like, a foul's a foul, even if he flops. Like and
people also forget, like, as tough as you are, like as tough as Aljamain Sterling is and all these guys, like, it's hard to, like, you can't condition your chin. Like, as much as people say you can't condition your chin. You
Mm-mm.
can't condition, like,
Unless you're me.
if you get, unless you're you, yeah. If you get hit by a Peter Yan knee while you're down, I don't care if you're Brock Lesnar, that shit's gonna fucking crush you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that shit's gonna hurt. So, people are gonna be like, why Brock Lesnar? He's such a pussy. People are gonna freak out. I just picked someone with a big head, okay? But yeah, moving on, we have Corey Sandhagen, as we talked about, and he's a very good fighter. I have a very high opinion of him. This is one of those ones, Matt. It's so funny because the best fights to target where you feel confident in MMA is the fights where you feel like you have an up and comer versus someone who, or like a good vet against someone who's not quite there yet, like Hooker versus Haqparast. Like, those are the fights I love. These are the ones that are a little bit harder to gauge, where you have someone like Corey Sandhagen who is like absolutely there. He's absolutely at championship level. And it's like, okay, but can he beat Peter Yan? You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where it gets so tough, because he's absolutely there. He's amazing. Can he beat Peter Yan? Probably not, but I don't know. I don't know. If he can't get through Dillashaw, I don't think he's going to get through Peter Yan. Again, I'm a big Dillashaw guy. I took Dillashaw 100% in that fight.
I remember that.
Very close fight.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was a close fight. I almost want to retract that statement, because I'm not saying Dillashaw couldn't beat Yan either. I think Dillashaw is one of the better fighters I've ever seen. It's just all these guys. Bantamweight is a joke. It's a fucking joke how deep that division is. I think it's ridiculous, all the names. I mean, that's what we just talked about. TJ, Sandhagen, Yan, Aljamain. There's so many I'm missing too that I'm not even like, let me see, bantamweight. I gotta do this, Matt, for my
you're
own,
good.
Bantamweight rankings, because there's a million. I remember like Sean O'Malley, I think, is like not ranked last I checked.
He's in bantamweight.
Yeah, that's how deep that is. Yeah, Rob Font.
What's up with all these
Jose
small
Aldo,
people?
Marab Divashvili, Cody Garbrandt, Frankie Edgar, Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz, Marlon Moraes, Rafael Asunzo, Marlon Vera, Cody Stamen, Song Yadong, and yeah, then I'm guessing the 16 man would probably be Sean O'Malley. That's so stupid. That top like 10 or 8 maybe. I'll put it at 8. And Pedro Munoz is right there. I don't know. Again, like, I don't know.
Why are there so many small fighters? Like, why is that a thing? Small good ones.
They weren't good at other sports.
I guess that's honestly, I guess that's true. I didn't even think about that.
No, it's what happens. Like, because I can tell you as a wrestling coach.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like, some of the best wrestlers are usually most talented, or, you know, anywhere from 106 pounders to like 132.
Probably because there's so many.
Yep, I would say 126 is the hardest weight class in wrestling, and that's usually where you get the nucleus of, at least in high school, the nucleus of those smaller guys. Because again, maybe football, they were talented, they were
too small.
Good athletes.
Can't even compete in basketball.
Yeah. You got some fat high school 270 pounder falling on you. It's not gonna matter if you're the most athletic kid there. So exactly. So I think that transitions to all things.
That's a great point. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I'm still gonna go heavy on Peter Yan, just because I know his ability, Matt. I know how well he can score. He's given me no reason to doubt him. I mean, the Aljamain fight was weird because some people, like, it depends who you ask. I know a lot of people think that fight was close. I know a lot of people that think it was an absolute wash. I watched it twice full through, and I still don't know how I feel about it. Like, it was a weird fight. But I do think Peter definitely got the best of him. And I think I'm gonna go more on him. I don't want a hard stance against Sandhagen again. People are gonna think I hate Sandhagen, but I just really do believe in Peter Yan and how he can score. I mean, I know he scores off the charts. What did he score against? I don't know, who was it? Someone he scored off the charts against, right?
Aldo. 154.
Crazy. 154.
Yeah.
I mean, that's bananas. And I believe in his gas tank. I believe this might be a stackable one.
I was literally about to say, again, ownership does change, and on my screen I have this crunch by ownership, Kevin, and the optimal crunch has this as a stackable fight, and not the last fight on the slate. It's this one
for cash. I mean,
for cash. Yep.
Yeah. This does minus 105 finish chance, so I definitely think this is the most stackable fight on the card.
Yeah, that's not good for a 5-rounder at all.
Yeah, no, I'm telling you, it's because they're both tough, they're both gritty, both well conditioned. I think.
Oh wow, whoever loses this is gonna go through war.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun fight. I think the winner's gonna go through war.
Oh yeah,
too.
Both of them are. Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to the main event, Matt, we have Jan Blachowicz versus Glover Teixeira. Ooh, this is a tough one. This is another tough one to call. I mean, Jan Blachowicz, I believe in the talent. I've been on this dude, like, it's one of those guys. He's got a resurgence in his career. I can't say I've been on him forever. I absolutely was a little late to the party, but I was definitely on him against Izzy, as you guys remember.
You were, yeah.
Yeah. I just believe in his power, his wrestling. He's very well rounded. He's just like, he's not the best fighter I've ever seen, Matt, but he doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's very tough. He like checks all the boxes and doesn't have any holes, you know. And you could have some super talented elite athlete kind of guy who's very well rounded too, like a John Jones beat him, come out of whatever retirement, back down to light heavy and beat him. And I wouldn't be shocked. But that being said, like I said, Jan is just, he's just hard to beat. He's very well rounded, very good Muay Thai guy. Like if you look at his pedigree, Matt, like in Muay Thai, he was like won a couple world championships, Polish championships, European championships, and then in grappling, same thing. Won a bunch of like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu cups, is a black belt. Also, like he's just well rounded. You know what I mean? Like, and it's I don't know how you necessarily. There's no like key to beating him. You just got to be better at fighting, which is like. Good luck. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's in good condition. We saw with Izzy. He can mix it up. He relied on his wrestling more in that fight. And, but we also know how much power he has. We saw against Dominic Reyes, absolutely starched him. Corey Anderson, Luke Rockhold. I mean, list goes on. So I definitely love him. Glover Teixeira. The man is timeless, Matt. I don't know if you know this. Glover Teixeira is like 42, 43.
I recognize his name. I really do. I'm not just saying that. So that's how you know that he's been around for a long time.
He has been. And he's been amazing. Like, I'll be the first one to say, like, when I think of Glover Teixeira, probably because of age, probably because of how long he's been in the UFC, I think of him as a journey. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, he's kind of like a journeyman. Like, he's been around. Like, he's probably like winning, losing. Nope, he's just winning. He's just winning. Like, that's it. Like, it really is just winning. And if you look who he's lost
been
against,
an underdog in the last three too. The last three of his fights have been.
It's crazy. He's fighting these good guys, and it's like, if you look at Matt, his last like 7 fights. 7 years, rather, I should say. He lost to John Jones for the title, Phil Davis, who was a title contender at that point, Anthony Johnson, who's fought for like 3 titles, Alexander Gustafsson, who's fought for like 4 titles or something, and then Corey Anderson. Like, and then he's beaten everybody else. He beat Jared Cannonier, Rashad Evans, OSP, Ryan Bader, Fabio Maldonado, who was good back then, Anthony Smith, who, another title contender, Thiago Santos, who took John Jones to, the brink there. It's just like, he's really got it, man. He's got big power. We know that he can crack anyone. He still has some, he's actually, it's funny, he's floated more on his grappling, more so than we've ever seen him. Think of him more of a knockout guy. He has 3 submissions in his last 5 fights. And he's on a 5-fight win streak. So I definitely think he's live. I think we just perpetually undervalue and underestimate Glover Teixeira's ability. That said, Jan is Jan. I still, again, am just I don't know if Glover has, like I said, you almost have to have that X factor to beat Jan. And I don't know if he has it. I think he's a well-rounded fighter. They're actually very similar, Matt. I think these guys are very similar.
I was about to say, they seem like it. They really do. They seem like they can beat anybody. And they seem very smart in their fighting and not overly aggressive. And me, that just seems like a disaster a recipe for success is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it really does for both sides. So
yeah, they're the same size, Matt. They have the same bodies. They're like both 6'2", 205ers. They both look like the same, similar kind of like stockiest.
I saw that when I was putting together the thumbnail.
I'm telling you, bro, this is like almost like a mirror match.
I literally thought I was putting the same guy twice. I was like, what's happening? I had to go back to my search results.
I'll tell you, no, seriously. And if you think age is a factor, like Jan's not young. Jan's like almost 42 as well. Not almost 42, almost 40 as well.
There you
go. But I do believe in Jan a little more. Again, this might be me just perpetually undervaluing Glover Teixeira again, which I've done.
Well, guess what? The public agrees with you, and so does Vegas. So you're not wrong. But he can win this thing. It looks like they're giving him also a 30% chance. What's up with these 30% chance to win?
I don't know, dude. This is pissing me off. If you say one thing wrong, I'm gonna fucking snap.
30% chance to win. Jan at a 40.9% ownership, which is the second highest on the card. So this is where the chalk will be if you're taking one side or the other. And then Glover at 19.8. So if you guys want some extreme leverage, I think this is another fight to target. I do with Glover. Giving this a 30%. If you can go all in, there's a 30% chance, and you're in the top 20%. Right there. Yeah. So
I'd say let's bring it home, but it's not much to bring home.
You don't have your extended notes. Now I will say, if you're going to stack in cash, stack the second one, the co-main. I think that has a lot of potential just in terms of stack. Both sides do. Whoever wins is obviously going to score off the charts, and whoever loses is still going to score well. Jan is going to be the core play there for me. It looks like he's carrying a ton of ownership, and that's not that expensive. You're $8,800 for Jan, Santagan 74, and then $9K for Jan. That's crazy. Yeah. I think I just built half your lineup. So, but yeah, I think you'll if you could, Kevin, give us some GBP plays for the DG Fantasy members a little bit later. But yeah, we'll go ahead and update all that, guys. If you are interested in signing up, head over to DG Fantasy at $20 a month. Gives you access to all of our ownerships, projections, all that good stuff. Plus, Kevin's Core. And if you guys did enjoy this content, please hit that subscribe button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future MMA content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.